Hey everybody, I wanted to get on here and give you guys a visual of my theory of how everything started from the beginning of Adam and Eve to how we got to the white race. This is what I believe. I believe that Adam and Eve, when they were in the Garden of Eden, I believe that Eve did indeed eat an apple that had a demonic parasite in them. As we all know, parasites can also be demonic. I believe that infiltrated her pregnancy with Cain, which is how Cain was born or came out with that type of spirit, which led him to kill his other brother, Abel, with a camel bone. Now, because of this, the Most High flooded the earth. And that would be because Cain had influence on other people that were living around. And as we all know, it was chaotic in the world. So the Most High had to do a reset. Now, the only reason why Noah, his 3 sons, and their 3 wives lived is because they did not mingle with Canaan and his ilk or his friends, so to speak. That is why they were the only people able to survive. Now, from there, Abraham's line came down. And we already know Abraham already had the laws of the Most High. Abraham got with Sarah. They had Isaac. Isaac then got with Rebekah. And remember, she was barren for 20 years. Until she had her first pregnancy, which was Jacob and Esau. Now, I know everybody is thinking that the white race is Esau, but I'm here to debunk that because Esau was described as an albino or a very light-skinned person, similar to the rapper Jadena. He looked similar to that. And Jacob was a more brown-skinned individual. Now, Jacob was born with this parasite inside of him, which is why I think Rebekah's womb was wrestling with her. She did not have a smooth pregnancy. All right? The same thing that happened to Eve happened to Rebekah, because I find it very interesting how I cannot get any details about her pregnancy other than the 2 babies wrestled inside of her. Now, why do I believe that this parasite or demon spirit was able to infiltrate Jacob? And I believe that because Jacob was going to be born deformed, the devil always seeked out to have a body. And in my opinion, maybe Jacob had a weaker or somehow vulnerable nature anyway, because he was going to be born kind of deformed or with an enlarged head. I believe they depict these 2 brothers in anime series, like this photo here of these 2 brothers. One is normal, one has a slightly enlarged head. That would be a good representation of what I'm trying to depict to you guys. And I'm sorry, you guys, I don't know these characters' names. I actually never watched this. This is something that my husband sent to me to help me visualize this story for you guys. Now, we have an old Isaac, who would be Jacob and Esau's father. He was ready to bestow the blessing upon his oldest son, and that would be Esau. But we all know the story that Jacob ended up stealing Esau's blessings by being very deceptive, by adding animal skins onto his body to pretend to be his brother, who was hairy in nature. So when Isaac went to touch his hands, he would assume that it was Esau. Now, that very act alone, wouldn't you describe that as very cunning? Wouldn't you describe the act of Jacob stealing the blessing? Would you not call that an act of deception? Because I would. This is why it led me to believe that when Jacob was born, that same parasite intersected his genes or his spirit, which is why he was a cunning child. Now, after Jacob stole the blessing from Esau and Esau found out, that is when Jacob fled to Mesopotamia and lived with his uncle Laban, who is Jacob's mother's brother. And remember, while living with his uncle, they were into doing very backdoor deals to make money. And also, Jacob enlarged his uncle's flock of sheep by genetically modifying them to reproduce at a faster rate. Because remember, I spoke about Jacob being a high intelligent individual who was very well learned, well read, knew physics by the age of 6. So again, he was way out of our league as far as intelligence goes. Now, while there, he fell in love with Laban's daughter, which is Rachel. But he was tricked into marrying the other daughter, Leah, who was his least favorite. Now, because of this action, the Most High blessed Leah with more sons than he did Rachel. Rachel only had 2 sons. And then because of the infighting of the 2 sisters, they both offered their maids to Jacob, and each of them had 2 children as well. Now, I believe that all of this infighting and drama, not being able to get the love of his life, being tricked to work 14 more years, I believe just the hatred for his people, it all brewed into him. He was like a modern day coon nowadays. That's the energy he gives me from my readings. And this was simply because he was highly intelligent. And when people are like that, sometimes they start to question all things around them. And then they don't like status quo. They want to change things. They think they have better ideas. Things like that happen. And I believe all of that cooking up inside of Jacob kind of burst out into this ball of hate. Now, all of his theories and his scientific research, all his ideologies became well known in the community. And he started to gather followers who thought the same like him. Kind of like the modern day MAGA. Wouldn't you agree? See, he was doing too much to the point where he was getting arrested. He was starting riots. People just had enough of him. And so he was exiled, or either he left voluntarily to go study more deeply into his research. And this led his quest to create a different race he wanted to create a different race. And remember, he's intercepted by the devil. He wanted to do anything opposite of the Most High. So I believe he was trying to create a white race, something opposite of what he saw around him. But in his mind, he wanted them to be what? Better. Now, during his time on Patmos Island, he created these beings, and he started with, of course, black people first, because those were the only people on earth. All right. He started with us first, and that's how Ireland, early Ireland mythical lore, they speak about these creatures showing up, popping up. I've done deep research in a lot of these old ancient Irish folklore books. They speak about these humanoid or these beings like the Blemmy or hybrid type animals or things running around let loose. And I actually have a map that I showed you guys in my last video that showed exactly where these things were let loose, okay, onto the population. Okay, it started in Ireland first. And you guys can check out that map and you can see all of the real laboratory sites that Jacob set up all around Europe. Now, do you guys see why I'm not blaming Esau for any of this? He had nothing to do with the white race. Nothing to do with that. His genetic bloodline is not intercepted whatsoever. When I did more research, it also said that Esau was still blessed by the Most High. He still received his blessing. So again, where did this hybrid DNA get intersected? Where did it come from? It couldn't have come from Esau. No way. Now, that's all I got for y'all tonight. I'm doing reading, deep research, getting into these books so I can come on here and share with you guys. If you guys could just do me a favor and like this video, share this video, get the likes up, get the views up, because this message needs to reach everybody. Everyone needs to know the truth. And if you guys want a part 3, put it in the comment section. Holla.